Welcome to nature's wild and marvelous medicine cabinet. Now, we'll just talk a little bit about ourselves so you know more of what we are up to these days. Many of you know that we are farmers, right? So we're just coming fresh from the farmers market. Well, yesterday, we were harvesting Monday and Tuesday at the farmers market yesterday. And I've got to tell you, farming is a lot of work. We originally got into farming because my husband has been a farmer practically since birth. And when I got married to him, I thought, oh, how romantic it would be to work together as farmers. Now you're laughing because I was a city girl. I knew nothing. I thought this would be romantic. Sometimes it is when we're having date nights, harvesting at 12 o'clock midnight. But you know what? It is such a reward. It is such a ministry. Because when we are at the farmer's market and we're talking to people about the food, the wholesome, nutritious food that God has provided, there's nothing else like it. I'm a dietitian by trade, and so I teach health. But when I get to also feed people the very best food in the entire world, that's the best feeling there is. So thank you, darling, for putting up with me all these years learning how to farm.
Can we have that in writing? For those all-nighters.
Those all-nighters when she's complaining. But yeah, so that's what we do. There's a picture of us at the farmer's market. Look at God's bounty. Isn't that glorious? And that's what we get to feed people every single week during the summer. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And the people that we've met over the years are repeat customers who line up for an hour to make sure they get their goodies every week. As a dietitian, that just warms my heart to see people lining up to eat vegetables. That is so amazing. So this is what we love to do. And
first and foremost, this is ministry for us. All those customers that come, repeat customers, we're making friends with them. And we've had a lot of good conversations, just shared a great controversy this last week. Yesterday.
So we get to talk, we get to tuck God in there. You know, we're not supposed to, what's the word, proselytize.
Be blatant, proselytizing.
Exactly. But you know, when people mention, look at the beautiful vegetables, we just tuck in isn't God so good? You know, things like that you can tuck into your ministry. And what else are we doing at Cherryville? You can talk about.
We just recently moved there, and we've got all sorts of stuff on the go there. There we have the farm that we're starting there as well, but it's being used. We've had a couple workshops there. We've had a gardening workshop, and we'll be having more. So it's really using everything that we're doing there, the farm included, as part of a whole ministry of reaching the community.
Exactly. The presentation we're going to give now is one that we gave in the community a few months ago, and they're just eating this stuff up. They're loving it. God's good nature. So tonight we're talking about his marvelous medicine cabinet, and you are here, I believe, because you believe this, right? Your health is your wealth. And if you do believe this, well, you know what? I didn't hear a really good yes to that. You're here because you believe that, right? Okay, all right, let's get it clear. If you do believe that, then this is for you. This quote is directly for you from Ellen White, and not even from Ellen White. This is from God himself saying, let's read it together. Education in health principles was never more needed than when? Now. It demands, that's quite the word. It demands the attention of all who have at heart the well-being of their fellow men. Do you have at heart the well-being of the people in your community? That is why you're here, right? Amen. All right. Well, then let's dive right into it. Genesis 3, verse 17 is the basis of our presentation. Because when Adam and Eve sinned, when they broke God's heart by eating that fruit, God had to expel them out of that garden, the same way he had to expel the devil out of heaven. But here's the really exciting part about being expelled by God. He never expels us and just throws us off totally. And here in verse 17 of Genesis 3, honey, what does it say there?
Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life.
That's an exciting verse, because in that curse is wrapped up a most magnificent blessing. Cursed is the ground, what? For your sake. That's the blessing that is in that curse. And that's the blessing that we're going to be talking about tonight. Verse 18 continues.
Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field.
Thorns and thistles. And it's so interesting because tomorrow, actually, just so you know, we'll tell you now and we'll remind you later, tomorrow we're not going to be meeting in here at 9 o'clock or 9:15. We're going to be meeting outside because we're going to be doing a little bit of foraging. And you're going to see that those thorns and those thistles that God talks about are actually good for our health. They are medicinal in nature. And so in this curse is magnificent blessing.
Amen. And so, of course, don't come in your high heels and your dress shoes. So be prepared to do some walking in the woods a little bit.
Absolutely. All right. So we continue with Psalm 104, verse 14. And this verse is so magnificent. Read it with me, everyone. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for what?
For the
service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. So we're going to be talking about some of the herbs of the fields this evening that are so wildly marvelous for our good health. Weeds. Not weed, weeds. We're talking about weeds. There's a funny story. When we were farming in, in Moyer. It was on Moyer.
In Rutland, in Kelowna. Yeah.
That's right. There was a lady who came to the property one day and she said, oh, do you have, she said weeds. I thought she said weeds, but she said weed. Do you have weed? I thought she said weeds. So I said, of course, we got weeds all around us. And she's like, oh, where? I think I can smell it. And I'm like, what is she talking about? And then it dawned on me, she's talking about weed. I'm like, no.
That was our next door neighbor. That's what she was smelling.
Yeah. It was just the weirdest thing. No, we don't have any of that, dear. Sorry. All right. So we're going to be talking about the health benefits, the uses, and sometimes the contraindications for some of the common weeds that you have seen all around and may not have realized their medicinal purposes. Losing my voice here. So just a little disclaimer, the information in this presentation is for educational purposes only, etc., etc. All right, but please be diligent in studying more about these marvelous weeds before you use them, all right? So do your diligent study there. All right, so who knows what this one is? Plantain, absolutely. There's two types of plantain.
There's the broadleaf and the narrow leaf, as you saw in that picture. So that's the broadleaf there.
And it's an interesting little story because the indigenous peoples, when the Englishmen first stepped foot on the continent, the indigenous people called this weed Englishman's foot, because everywhere the Englishman stepped, this weed seemed to spring up behind him. They had actually brought the seeds on the soles of their boots. And so this is the way it was planted here in North America. But cuckoo's bread, another great little name there. Thank you so much, losing our voices here. All right, so we know that it's the broadleaf and the narrow leaf. Great source of protein. You can eat this and be very well fed. So it's a really great survival food.
Also a great source of dietary fiber. Who all knows about psyllium? So this is the plant that psyllium comes from. It's from plantain.
Plantain.
Yeah.
And there's so much plantain out there. If you went outside and you started looking around, you would notice there's plantain everywhere. Just everywhere. It's amazing. There's so many great uses for it. One of the uses is for your respiratory health. It's rich in mucilage, which means it's going to moisten your throat. It's going to moisten your stomach, coats the airways with a protective layer. So it's a really good thing for if you've got a dry cough. It's going to reduce the irritation from that dry cough, chronic bronchitis. And what's really interesting is that the German government and the Russian government as well, they know about the benefits of this and they use it in their militaries. So that is really neat. We need to be looking to them to get all the good information that they're using.
Also excellent for stomach ulcers.
Yeah.
Because of that mucilage properties. That's one of the reasons anyway.
Absolutely. The iridoids and the flavonoids in it are antispasmodics. And so it's going to relax the smooth muscles of your stomach. So reducing cramping, that type of thing, stomach ache. What else, honey?
High immune system, high vitamin A and C. So that's always an awesome thing.
Absolutely. There's so many uses for that. Now let's get into the skin health.
Stops bleeding. And we're going to cover a few different plants that stop bleeding. So this is one that if you get a cut, just put some of this on it, and that will stop the bleeding. We won't be covering it, but cayenne pepper is one that probably everybody has just about in their cupboard. Cayenne pepper is an awesome one to stop bleeding.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to use that one time for a finger that just would not stop bleeding. So I just plunged it into some cayenne pepper. Voila, that did the trick right there. But it's antiseptic, so it also disinfects the wounds. And it's got that really great drying ability. You got a splinter, just put on a nice little poultice of plantain. It's going to start to draw that splinter out of your system. So many fantastic things. It encourages cell growth, sunburn. Now, honey, you're always working on the farm, shirtless and stuff, and getting that skin looking really interesting. Yeah. So sunburn, really? Acne, all the rest of it.
Also great, especially for the ladies, men too, I guess, but for a mask, face mask, because it's very good for your skin. It's one of the best plants for your skin.
Absolutely, yes. Now you can eat plantain. Anybody eat it in their salads or anything? Oh, fantastic. Good for you. Okay. So you want to eat those young leaves. They're the most tasty ones, nice and raw, steamed or boiled. Treat it like spinach. Or you can make a tea out of it with the older leaves. Just steep 1 to 2 teaspoons of a dried herb. You could even use the fresh, but the dried is a really good way to go in some boiling water.
And so may be beneficial in treating diabetes, colon cancer, bleeding hemorrhoids, gallstones, and psoriasis. So
absolutely.
A number of things there.
So look at all the wonderful things that this one plant does. See how God has caused blessing out of that curse? And I've got to tell you, we feel pretty cursed as farmers when we're having to weed those beds of those 50-foot beds of
especially
vegetables.
The purslane. I don't think we're talking. Will we be talking about?
No, we're not talking about purslane tonight.
Yeah, we had a lot of purslane in our garden, but purslane is one of the most amazing things for you. So yeah, we were juicing a lot of that.
Exactly. So again, the blessing out of the curse. How amazing is our God? Okay, so that's plantain. We'll see a lot of it on our little foraging walk tomorrow morning. Who knows what this one is? Mullen, absolutely. Also called candle flower. Can you tell me why it might be called that? No one? Why, honey? Tell us why.
Oh, well, you can light the dry that. That's what they used to do, and it'd be like a torch. You could dip the top in like fat. And as well as when I was a kid, I actually did this. You just take the leaf and dry it and kind of roll it into a rope kind of thing and dip one end in oil and you make a lamp. So that was how they used to make a lamp wick. Pardon me? Yes, toilet paper, yes. Yeah, it's excellent as toilet paper, yeah.
Definitely. Nice. But
There you
Exactly,
go.
yeah. It's nicer than Cottonelle. It's much softer. And so, hey, get your supply of toilet paper when it runs out of the stores. All right. Uh, the candle flower?
Candle flower.
Candle flower,
Yeah.
yeah, just at the top there. So it's got strong antioxidant properties. So it's really fantastic for our good health. For all of these reasons here, respiratory. Now, plantain was also good for respiratory. This one is particularly good for coughing, bronchial congestion, hoarseness. When we had COVID, I had boiled up.
Yeah, we were taking this.
Yeah, I had boiled up some tea using this. Wonderful for that respiratory system. And wound healing. You'll find that most of these herbs, most of these plants, you can interchange them. They basically all, if you just had one, you could probably do so much with just that one. You wouldn't need all the rest. But it's so great that God has given us an abundance, a variety of these things to use. So the wound healing is fantastic.
Antimicrobial. So against E. coli, it's very effective for that. So that's pretty amazing.
Absolutely. And UTIs, ear infection, put some of that dried herb in some oil and put that in your ear, the same as you would do with garlic. Chop up some garlic, put it in some oil, put it in for an ear infection, the same kind of thing. Talk about the warts.
Yeah, actually where was that? Actually, was that in Chilliwack that we met the guy that was Vancouver Island? Anyway, it's very good against warts. So I think it was a gentleman on Vancouver Island. And there was a young native girl that had warts just covering her hand. And so he got the flowers. It's the flowers from the mullein. And he made a poultice of that, put that on the warts. And within a few days, they were all gone. And he had some warts that he had tried on himself first. But so it's amazing for getting rid of warts.
Absolutely. And that you go to the store and you buy all these wart preparations and stuff, and
that don't really
work. They just don't work. Absolutely. And the simple things that God has provided, they work. Absolutely. They might take a little more time. They might take a lot less time, but they work because they're from God's hand. What else?
Antiparasitic. So that's a very important thing because many people have parasites.
Most people.
Most people, which is kind of a nasty fact. But
absolutely. I remember I was down in California taking a course. Anybody know Danny Vieira? The late Danny Vieira. Yeah, down at Bella Vita Lifestyle Center. And they do that the detox cleansing. And he would show pictures of stuff that would come out of people, and I couldn't take it. So, and he's saying, when you go to the washroom, you drink all this stuff, when you go to the washroom, check and see. Oh, I couldn't check anything. There was no way. I would have just fainted if I saw anything. So, luckily, I did learn to just kind of look, but nothing. I was clean. Yes. Okay, so how to make some mullein tea? Really easy. Want to walk us through it?
1 cup of boiling water over 2 teaspoons of dried leaf or flour, and infuse for 10 to 15 minutes.
Nice and easy. And that's the way you make most of these teas.
And straining through cheesecloth is a good thing. It does have little hairs on it, so straining through the cheesecloth there.
Awesome. Okay, enough of mullein. Who knows what this one is? This one is our favorite. Comfrey. Does anybody have comfrey growing on their property?
Awesome.
Oh my goodness, we're coming over. We need some of your comfrey. What's that? You could have brought some. Oh, comfrey is king, guys. It is king. Let's talk about why comfrey is so amazing. First of all, the colloquial terms for it, knit bone, because it literally knits your bones back together. Got a broken bone? Slather on a poultice of comfrey, and it's going to speed up your healing.
Speed it up majorly. Actually, it speeds up healing so fast that if it's, you have to be careful that, say, if you have a wound and you put this on, if it's infected, that it can seal up the outside of the wound so fast that it keeps the infection inside.
Yes.
So, it's a very, very fast healer of,
Exactly, yes. The Romans and Greeks were using it all the way back then because they knew the medicinal properties of this amazing plant. Sprains, bruises, pulled muscles, torn rotator cuffs, pinched nerves, all these things. Put that poultice on of some comfrey, and you are good to go in no time at all. Arthritis, carpal tunnel, back pain, old injuries. There's a story of a person who had had frostbite 20 years ago, and they were still suffering from it 20 years hence. After using some comfrey salve for a few days, a few weeks, no more anything. They had been suffering with it for 20 years. Put some comfrey on it, and it was gone. God's ways are perfect.
Probably the most amazing story we've heard is about the new Dana's story, right?
Yes,
yes.
You'll
have to tell that story.
That one.
Okay, correct me if I got if I don't have all the details.
Okay.
Right, but anyway, so it was a friend of ours. She's a nurse down in the States, and she knew a gentleman. He cut off the end of, was it one finger? Anyway, I think a couple fingers of his hand, and they were cut off just, I can't remember which machine, but you couldn't repair. You couldn't stitch them back on. And anyway, so they put a poultice, was it charcoal and comfrey?
Charcoal and some
I think
comfrey.
It's charcoal and comfrey. Anyway, within a few weeks, it not only healed, actually the finger grew right back. And it had taken off like the end of the bone, like it was like, so it grew right back, nail and everything.
And he was playing the guitar,
And she's a nurse. Like she said, if she hadn't seen it, there's no way she would ever believe it. We've actually heard since then, I think one other story, the similar kind of thing happening. So incredible what God's remedies can do.
Incredible. All right, lots of stories, but we'll just keep on going here. Oh yes, I wanted to read to you. The book is right over there, honey. Anybody have this very old book by Dr. Kirshner? It's just full of exciting things. I'm going to be reading a story to you from page 54. Hold on here.
We've used this book a bit. It's kind of falling apart.
Yeah. It's such an old book. It's so wonderful. Okay, so, no, that's not it. Hold on just a second. Page 53. Okay, here we go. The faith of the common people in comfrey as a healer is well illustrated by the experience of a Lancashire physician who tells of an amusing incident that occurred in connection with his practice back in 1912. He writes, 3 years ago, I was called to see a girl with gastric ulcer and treated the case in the usual orthodox manner. In 3 weeks, the patient was able to return to her work at the mill. When congratulating the mother on her daughter's speedy recovery, the old woman said to me, "Do you mind my telling you something, doctor?" On my replying in the negative, she said, "Well, doctor, my girl has never had a drop of your medicine. All she has supped is pints of strong comfrey tea." Strong comfrey tea. Today we are told, don't ingest comfrey. We've been told. Why have we been told that? Mm-hmm. Very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we aren't going to be recommending internal use other than saying that we have no issue with it.
Exactly.
But do your own research. That's all we can say.
Do your own. Yes. But this book is just full of stories of using these wild medicinals with fantastic results. So be encouraged in your study.
And one thing I want to say, we're all here for doing medical missionary work, right? That's what we're here for. And we do the cooking classes, the two of us, we teach the nutrition and all that, plant-based diet. And that's all wonderful and amazing and needs to be done. But these natural remedies, we found that's really, like when we have foraging classes, like that gets so many people are interested in that.
Yes.
And when we have like the comfrey salve, like we had a class where we actually demonstrated that at the front of the class. There were 2 people in the class that had very bad arthritis. So they took some of the salve home that night. They came back and they were just raving because they took the pain away. And now they're going to be telling all their friends. And they're going to be so much more open to what else we have to share with them, right? So it's very immediate effects. Or the hydrotherapy is another amazing one where, all it takes, is just 1 or 2 treatments sometimes, and you can have like amazing results. Whereas, changing your lifestyle and stuff is a more gradual thing that usually, like, it's not so immediate. So, so we really are convinced, and it really just, people are interested. We have, the gardening as well. That's another thing that, we had a ton of people from the community coming out for that. So it's...
Yeah, that's what we're finding. The community, they're all for this stuff, more so, unfortunately, than many people in our own congregations. But the community is ready for it. So we need to equip ourselves with all of this information so that we can impart it to our communities. That is our high calling. That is our commission.
No need to save the saint.
What's that?
Save the saints.
All right, so here's a study that was done, actually. There's that diclofenac gel that you can buy at the store. And actually, one of the ladies in that class that you were talking about, she had some of that type of gel. It cost, I think, like $30 at Nature's Fair or something. And after using the salve that cost how much, just pennies, there was such a wonderful result from it. But this particular study showed that after 7 days, there was a statistically significant increased benefit in the group that was doing the comfrey versus the group that was doing the commercial product. So they rated the efficiency of the comfrey better than the commercial product. And that's just par for the course because God's ways are perfect. So comfrey uses, you can use it as a tea, a tincture, poultices, cream, liniments. You can eat it, but we didn't say that, but you can eat it. And so here are some cautions that you'll find on various more of the governmental websites. Suspicion of liver damage from using comfrey root, but that was when they had given the animals
they with some rats. They gave them like incredible amounts for a very long period of time.
And no one would do that themselves.
Yeah,
no
and what is the whole definition of temperance? Everybody, in what? All good things,
all good
right?
Things.
Yeah, abstinence from bad things. So it doesn't matter if it's garlic or comfrey or whatever it is. If that's all you ate for a month or 2, you could have major issues from pretty much any kind of plant.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you drink too much water at one time, it can kill you. So, there's that temperance thing. So these cautions, we're just putting them there because we need to, but we know that you will do your own research and come up with your own brilliant results. Comfrey poultices, you all know how to do poultices, right? Most of you, there's a picture of how to do a poultice, but if you're going to use a comfrey poultice, just easy as can be. Just get those comfrey leaves and put them in a blender, mix them up, blend them up with some ground flax to keep it nice and moist and pliable.
Holds it together nicely.
Yep, holds it together nicely. Yeah. Spoon it onto the clean cloth, fold it over onto yourself, and you are good to go with those broken bones or whatever it is that you have. Nice and easy. There are various other poultices. We won't go through them. Anybody have the time? What time is it?
7:56.
Okay, so we'll just potato, herbs, flaxseed. You all know about poultices, we're sure. Charcoal, cabbage, mustard, onion. So many easy ways of healing our bodies. And if you're looking for a nice little easy recipe for the comfrey salve, take a quick picture of that. It is just the easiest thing in the world to make. Just get some beeswax, olive oil, the powder.
And of course, you could substitute comfrey for a bunch of these different, whether it was, we're going to be talking about some of the herbs or the mullein, or you could substitute that and make a different kind of salve.
Absolutely.
The root of any of these plants is going to be the most potent. So the leaf is going to be more gentle, like if for ourselves for making a tea. We use a leaf, for instance, for making a tea.
Yeah, and there it is at the top.
Yeah.
You can use the
Yeah.
leaves, flowers, stem, root,
Yeah.
the whole shebang.
Yeah.
All right, so moving along. Okay, who knows what this one is? Yarrow,
Awesome.
absolutely. And yarrow, I mean, they're all fantastic, and we love comfrey to death. But yarrow has been called a medicine chest in and of itself. If that was the only one you had, you'd be good to go, and here's why. First of all, medicine for the wounded, one of nature's best Band-Aids. Now look at this, interesting point number 4. It grows everywhere, but windswept seaside cliffs and mountainsides have strongest medicine. And it's the same thing with humans, those people who've gone through adversity, they're stronger. So the same thing.
So our vegetables.
And the vegetables,
because
exactly.
our farm is a very windy spot, so they must be super
super
potent,
nutritious. Yeah. Absolutely. But look at all the things that yarrow has going for it. We won't even read the whole thing, but analgesic, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, all the antis. It's just full of goodness, all the things that it's going to do for your body.
Makes a great insect repellent.
Yes. And again, with the bleeding.
And stops internal and external bleeding, so that's amazing.
For mild stomach indigestion, bloating, flatulence, nausea, promotes really good circulation. So that's a really great thing there for rheumatic joints, for varicose veins, any of those kinds of things. Topical wound healer, again, like the other ones are. But look at this one, using it topically for inflamed skin and eruptive conditions like measles, chicken pox. So talking about the pox, you've heard of the monkey pox that's coming down the pipeline. So if it's good for chicken pox, I'm thinking, might want to try that for the monkey pox that's coming down that they say is so virulent. So what else? Cold and flu season is coming up. Get some yarrow in your medicine chest and use it. What else, honey? Oh, the toothache thing.
For sore throat, pardon me?
Toothache thing.
Oh yeah, toothache. Yeah, so chewing on some of the leaves to relieve toothaches for up to 8 hours. So yeah, amazing.
Yeah, you just pick some, chew it, keep it in the pouch of your mouth there.
And I know as a young child, if anybody had a headache, we would chew on some leaves of that, and that would help take away the headache. So
fantastic. All right, I'm going to speed things up. And you know what? It just brings to mind again that verse in Psalms. He causes the grass to grow for the cattle and herb for you and me, for the service, for our blessing. What a great and marvelous God we serve.
Amen.
But there's still a little bit more for yarrow. Ladies, if you're having any menstrual difficulties, it's going to decrease your flow if it's too excessive. It's going to regulate it if it's not enough, or if you don't have any, and you should. So it knows what to do once it gets into your body. How amazing is that? That is just crazy amazing. It's going to regulate your hormones as well so that your body runs smoothly. So, harvesting the flowers, honey?
Harvest them when fully open, but not yet yellowish or brown. So yeah, just when they look pretty.
Yeah, nice and white. And white, yeah. And harvesting the leaves at any time, but spring and summer are most potent. The roots in the fall.
Yeah.
And why is that?
And that's when, any of the roots, dandelions or whatever, that's when they're storing all the energy in the root in the fall. So that's usually the best time for the roots.
Exactly. And again, with the tea, just, boiling that in some water, steeping it, drinking it to break a fever. That's a really good thing. If you've got oily skin, make a weak tea and wash your skin with it. That's going to help your skin beautifully. All right, and moving right along, I think this is our last one. What is this? Oregon grape, absolutely. Now, the really wonderful thing about Oregon grape is that it's a wonderful substitute for golden seal. Now, I hope you know about the wonders of golden seal. It's a wonderful cleanser for your body, but it's also very expensive. So let us introduce you to the wonders of golden seal.
Of Oregon grape, you mean?
Of Oregon grape.
Yes.
Getting myself mixed up here. So the really neat thing is the berberine, because the golden seal is that golden root, but the Oregon grape also has that golden root. So that's why you can substitute it for the golden seal. And look at all the wonderful things, honey.
So strong antimicrobial and liver stimulant.
Yep.
Can be used both externally and internally to fight bacterial infections, wounds. This is another thing we took when we had COVID. We were putting this in our tea.
That's
and
right.
It's as we will give you the instructions for making the tea. It's not it's good medicine when it's bitter and powerful. So that's what this tea is. So just a small amount.
Drink it up. Absolutely. It can stimulate your liver function because of that bitterness. All those bitter things are wonderful for the liver, great for digestion, stomach ulcers, acts as a laxative. So if you're having any difficulties there, if your plantain psyllium isn't doing the job, then drink some Oregon grape as well. It's going to act as a laxative. But you want to use the bark. You want to talk about that? So
the bark is the easiest. You can use the root as well, but then obviously you're killing the plant. So you can just peel off a bit of the bark on the stem and use that.
You can use those young leaves. You can use it fresh or dried. For all of these, fresh or dried, make that tea.
And we're not covering it here, but of course the berries as well. Has anybody eaten the berries? Aren't they delicious? I've always loved them.
They're refreshing.
But they are rather refreshing.
They're
a little bit. A little bit sour there.
Again, with some cautions.
Yeah, you can make a really nice jelly with it for sure. Yeah.
Sweeten it up. There are some cautions with some of this. If you're pregnant, you want to be careful because herbs are very potent.
And this is one of the more powerful natural.
That's right.
Herbs, yeah.
Exactly. All right. Now this is the last one. Devil's Club. Who's familiar with Devil's Club? Oh yes. Do you have any story why you're so familiar with it, or?
Well, the New Hope Nation of Bellapula, they use it a lot.
Awesome.
Arthritis,
yes.
diabetes.
Yes. Fantastic.
This is probably, if not the most powerful natural remedy on the West Coast here would be Devil's Club.
And it's interesting that it's called Devil's Club, you know?
Well, if you've gotten whacked with it when you're hiking, you'll know why.
You know why, exactly. But here's the thing. This one seems particularly cursed because of those thorns that it's got on it. And those thorns, if you get stabbed with one, it will infect you. You will get an infection. However, the cure is also in the cause. So this plant can give you an infection, but it will also heal that infection. So there again, that promise, cursed, but there's a blessing in it. It's going to heal you at the same time. So here are some of the fantastic things that it's going to do for you. It's going to help in the formation of new blood vessels, regression of atherosclerosis, hardening of your arteries. Drink some of this Devil's Club tea, and it's going to aid in that. It's going to give you pain, but it can also relieve pain. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? But it's very true. What else, honey?
Did we cover stabilizes blood pressure?
That's amazing.
Yeah. So whether it's too high or too low, it will stabilize it.
It knows what to do.
Yeah.
It just goes into the body and knows what to do. All right. Promotes perspiration, so it helps to remove toxins from your body. And the arthritis that you were talking about, this lady over here, reduces pain from arthritis, rheumatism, general joint pain. Isn't God so good? He uses these things for the service of man. Also a mild laxative, so that's an interesting point there. The parts used, honey?
So the early shoots, roots, inner bark of stem, similar to the Oregon grape.
Yeah.
But caution, talking about having too large doses. So once again, this is a very powerful remedy. So don't take a ton of it.
We apologize. It's been a busy week of harvesting and all the rest of it that we have to do on the farm. I tell you, That romantic thing, honey, I don't know what I was thinking. 14-hour days harvesting, y'all. 14-hour days, 2 hours of sleep before the market. Romance. Oh. A ton of romance, I tell you.
To be aware of new videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to the Preparing for the Time of Trouble channel. For more free videos and downloadable audio podcasts, as well as handouts, go to www.preparingforthetimeoftrouble.com. Topic categories include recordings of live seminar presentations, country living, sustainable gardening, homestead remedies, how to be self-sufficient when the grid goes down, wild edible and medicinal plants, hydrotherapy, and end-time Bible prophecies. To take advantage of these free resources, go to preparingforthetimeoftrouble.com.